Hey everybody, this is Jeremy with ZTP Mag. I'm here with Corey of Trivium. How you doing, Corey?
Doing good, man.
So I'm going to ask first off. I got a couple of fan questions for you, so I'm going to read those off, and everybody has burning questions for you guys. So, what was the band that got you into the type of metal you play, and where did you first hear it?
The first band that got me interested in rock metal was Guns N' Roses. And I just ended up as a kid hearing it because my parents had a record. And I just kind of saw it, stumbled across it, popped it in a CD player and listened to it and just kind of struck me. And so that was my gateway band. And then when I heard Metallica, that led me to Metallica. And when I heard the kind of music Metallica played with the kind of riffs that they had and the kind of thrash kind of style was that's when it really kind of piqued my interest in playing guitar, just because Metallica's style of music was a little bit more up my alley as far as the kind of music I wanted to play than Guns N' Roses. It was a little more blues rock kind of bass, and Metallica had that riffage. So that really kind of was where it started, and then much like a lot of young music fans, when you kind of stumble across the bands that really, I guess, pique your interest, you want to find as many bands as possible. So after, Metallica, I just kind of branched out and just, obviously found, Megadeth from there, and then Slayer, and just kind of each band would lead you to like another group of bands, and just keep expanding your musical, your palette of across the board of metal. Each band led you to another either genre or just another band. So, but those were like the roots of, just kind of put me down the path of rock and metal.
Hell yeah. So I'm going to build on one of those that topic. I play guitar, and I'm always curious how professional musicians, how you build your riffs, how you write, and also kind of how you stay creative. I mean, you guys have been around for a while, and you guys have had plenty of CDs out, plenty of awesome music, and it always seems new to me. It doesn't seem like it's rehashed or reformed or anything like that. So what's your process?
It's just very natural. Just kind of just write, and kind of try not to do something that's too similar to something we've done before. Or there's certain techniques that you might do on one record that sounds really fresh, and then years after, there's so many bands that have really kind of done a lot of the same ideas or the same kind of general, I guess, guitar technique of style of riffs. They try to either find a new way to kind of use it in a different form, or you just try to find something that will be new in your sound. So we just definitely try not to, kind of rewrite the same sound all the time. And it's very natural because every record we start writing, and it's just kind of just comes out as something new. I think it's just kind of how the band is. We just naturally, without forcing anything, it just kind of, whatever that record is, it's just kind of like that's where we are at that moment in time creatively, and just kind of whatever you start writing, and then you just kind of find like that sound or that kind of style that at that moment when you're writing a record that just kind of like piques your interest and piques your creativity, where it just kind of sparks more ideas. So I think that's why a lot of our records, because if we were after each record try to write another record that was just like that one, I don't think we wouldn't really have that creative spark. Yeah. It's always trying to find like what we can do with our sound and in our, I guess, our writing skills to kind of move forward and do the next new thing. So each record's kind of like that moment in time in our career and our life, where it just kind of creatively, that's what was coming out of us at that moment. Since you have like in between records, usually have like a year and a half.
Right.
To really, if you want to put out a record, I guess every 2 years, or like kind of record tour, you just kind of have that life experience of that moment in time that I guess influences, where you go musically. And, we're working on another one, and it'll be something different from Silence. Just kind of continue what we're doing, and then find like that new thing that's going to kind of keep it moving forward.
So for the people, I mean, you guys have fans worldwide, and you guys kind of cross barriers. You guys are accessible to people that don't really care for super super heavy metal, or like my mom would say, Cookie Monster vocals, because Matt does a great job of doing both. You do backup vocals as well. But what happened from Ember to Inferno to the sound that you guys have now? Because it's very different, and the sound that you have now, even like how it's recorded, sounds different. Did you? What, I know that's way in the past, but what, as a band, did you guys do to decide to change that?
I guess we grew up. Ember to Inferno, Matt was like 15 or 16 when those songs were written. Recorded them when he was about 16, so that's kind of like the youthfulness of the sound of, kind of taking, that's like the first step of taking your influences and trying to finding a way to make your own kind of thing out of it. And it kind of progressed from Ember to Ascendancy. There was different elements that created that sound, because from Ember to Ascendancy, there were a three-piece, and then I joined the band, so like the whole mentality of what you can do with two guitars instead of just being one guitar player really opened up, adding in a lot more layers and ideas, and just kind of kept going from there. And it's very, it might look from Ember till now, it's about 13 years in between releases, and it might seem like a really drastic jump, but along the way it's just kind of gradually just been a very natural thing to us that we'll play a show and go from playing something from Ember to Silence in the Snow, and they all work together, but obviously they sound a lot different between records. But I think just all the elements of what makes up our sounds are in all the records. They're just kind of presented and used in a different formula to make each record have its own unique vibe and unique sound, instead of something from Ember and then something from Silence sounding like they could be from the same record. We try to keep the identity there, but also find ways to make it exciting for us, and also hopefully when fans go buy our CD and they don't know what to expect, hopefully they hear something that makes them excited to listen to the record over and over again.
Right, the whole thing, yeah. So Ascendancy, that was my first CD, and then I went back to Ember, and then pretty much progressed with you guys. When I first picked up Ascendancy, I was still rocking a CD player, and at the time I didn't have a license. I was riding my bike from down here in campus, Ohio State campus, all the way up to Worthington, which is, it's not that far, but if you're riding your bike, it's real far. So the bike ride would take an hour, and when I picked up Ascendancy, I cut 20 minutes off my bike ride time.
It's a fast album.
It's a fast album, man. I just love the way that good music can kind of change you without you even knowing it.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, that record, obviously was our kind of the big break for us, and really, I guess that moment in time, that record really was, something, I guess, fresh with the way the metal scene was evolving from, I guess, the end of the 90s into the early 2000s, from, I guess, new metal transforming into having a lot more of the traditional old school metal influence into the sound. I think that a lot of bands that, at that time that put out records really struck a nerve, because, from what the big thing in heavy music was before it, it was very simple, rhythm stuff. And then a lot of bands, that came out that really kind of hit hard, at that time were playing leads again and playing more intricate, obviously the old school Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth influence, I think kind of hit people as something that like they haven't really been introduced to it. So it kind of really opened the doors for us, just because I think at that time that record just really had something to offer that a lot of people that were listening to music at that time really hadn't really experienced, And I know a lot of people that got into us on that record, so they learned about, they became Metallica fans and all that stuff through us, because they, us talking about our influence, helped them discover kind of like something, I guess, lost and forgotten to them, that they didn't know was out there. So it's cool that we, at least in some way, we're a part of kind of, I guess, resurrecting.
You guys rejuvenated it. Leads were dead. Seriously, I mean, they were dead. I mean, grunge killed the lead, and
there's a lot of bands. Like Shadows Fall was a big one. Killswitch coming up around that same time, and even like this, stuff from Europe like Bodum and In Flames were starting to pick up a lot more in the States, and I think just people got really excited about the musicality coming back into metal. And now it's like 10 years later from there, it's gotten even like some of the bands now are just playing some crazy ass shit. So it's really developed even beyond what that was. So it's pretty crazy to see so many people really interested in playing their instruments and actually learning to really kind of learn as I guess become as good as possible, because there's some pretty ridiculous players out there now.
Yeah, my dad, he was huge into metal, and he actually gave me my first Trivium CD because I was in California at the time when I heard Like Light Flies, and told him about it. I sent him a link to the video, and he checked it out. He loved it. So when I came back to Ohio, the CDs he gave me were Children of Bodom, Meet the Reaper. I can't remember the name of the CD. Follow the Reaper. Ascendancy, and In Flames, Cloud Connected, or Reroute to Me. Yeah, Memory. It's a bitch. So, yeah, good stuff, man. I was curious, what does the white mask represent?
It's our mascot.
Yeah. What made you do it over like that? It wasn't always white, was it?
It's got we've done it in multiple colors. The original one was more of a illustration, and then for the record, we actually had someone make actual wearable masks for it, just for the photography and everything. It was just more realistic. But it developed over a couple of years. We kind of were looking. We wanted kind of like our Eddie or the Motorhead.
Do you have a name for it?
It's Ibaraki.
Ibaraki.
It's based off of one of Matt's tattoos, but it's an old Japanese folklore myth. And it's a really cool story. Matt can recite it in a second, but I can't really say it perfectly. But it's an old Japanese myth, and then we had Matt's tattoo artist kind of make us something specific for us, kind of take the idea and make our own thing out of it, and then it's just kind of evolved into different kind of forms for merch and just artwork and everything like that. So it's kind of like branding as like our. You have the Motorhead skull, and then Misfits and Eddie, and then Avenged has got the bat and everything. So kind of like with the inspiration was we wanted something that was very iconic without even seeing the name Trivium. You would know it's Trivium. So and we'd pull a lot of influence from like Japanese art and history. So it just seemed like once we kind of decided to go that route, it just fit us perfectly, since we've kind of taken a lot of ideas from that culture, from Matt's background, that it just kind of was very fitting for our band.
So another question from your fans is it true that Matt blew out his vocals at Rock on the Range a couple of years ago?
Yep, that's true.
All right, and then he had surgery and everything like that after following?
No surgery. Didn't need surgery. It just needed
TLC.
Kind of, and then he just had to relearn how to sing a different way.
Right.
So it was kind of retraining in a way. So he's been working the past couple years to kind of re-sing and re-scream a new technique, which is, I guess very hard to learn once you've been doing it a certain way for so long, to untrain yourself to do it a different way. But he puts a lot of work into it, so it's coming a long way, and he's still pushing to kind of even get it even better than where it is now. So it's just as everyone says, practice. Right. So it's
that's changed how you do your backups, right?
No, not really. He still does his stuff. He just obviously the way he performs it is different from a technical standpoint of a singer. But now that he's screaming again, I can go back to doing my parts I was doing before, instead of doing more parts to, I guess, cover what he couldn't do at the time. So it's kind of balanced back out to kind of how we always kind of divvied up, I guess, vocal parts live.
Right. Another question is, what would you say is important for up-and-coming bands to do to make it these days?
Could imagine it's.
What's your secret sauce?
Well, we came out, 10 years ago. Nowadays, just, obviously labels and people don't really give a lot of bands time to develop and kind of find themselves. It's kind of like you have to be like ready to go, like right then. First records, you got to make some kind of impact. So it's, I'd say a lot of people, with technology, a lot of people like they can record at home and everything, but I think a lot of people are missing out on just getting in a jam room with 4 people in a band and kind of really like jamming out and rehearsing and writing songs in that way instead of on a laptop programming, because a lot of ideas can come about with the chemistry and the bouncing ideas off other people in a band room, right. Which we do kind of utilize both, where we make demos and write at home on laptops and show each other stuff, and then we get in a room and then we'll kind of blow it up, rewrite parts, change stuff, add different things, and really kind of give the songs like a fresh kind of life to it. And just take your influences and just try to find a new way to kind of present a sound that will stand out in your own way. I take a lot of different ideas from different guitar players I like and kind of Frankenstein it all together, right. Of things I like from one guy, things I like from another guy, and I try to kind of blend it in that where people don't know where I got ideas from, because it's kind of melting pot of different styles and players. So I guess you can take that from just like a overall sound perspective of what you want your band to sound like. Just kind of find a way to take everything you like about metal and kind of make it your own. Right. And then you just got to have some damn good luck that someone at a label or someone that can really kind of help you get out there, gets an ear on it. Right. So it's a lot of work, but also, little pinch of luck in there, and you're on your way.
All right, so I had asked earlier, I knew it, but I forgot. Columbus is the first stop on the tour. It's just the way that it worked out, and I think that's awesome. I can't remember the last time we were the first stop on somebody's tour, like a big tour like this. So tell me about the rest of this tour and what you have upcoming, say, in the next year.
First show of the tour, and then goes till October 21st. We end in Orlando, so we got about...
Orlando's home, right?
Yeah, so we got about 4.5, close to 5 weeks on this run. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's our last North American tour for the album and last tour of the year. So we're done after this for the rest of the year, and then, beginning of the year, we're back over in Europe for one more tour, and then, we won't be doing any shows till there's a new record. So sometime next year, yeah, we've been working on it. So next year will be, once we get that last tour done, for the pretty much up until whenever we finish it, that's just the focus. And then sometime next year, you'll hear something new.
So just tell everybody where they can find you online, on the interwebs, wherever.
Everywhere people look.
You guys are everywhere.
Yeah, we got our trivium.org. There's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then the music's Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever. So where everyone else is at, we're at.
Pick up the new album, check out the videos, share them with your friends, do all that stuff. You'll see pictures from me later tonight, or, well, I'll take the pictures later tonight. You'll see them in about a week or so. But share that. Go give Trivium some love, and rock out, guys. Bye.